Alrighty, I'm going to pull up a problem, and I'm going to pretty much skip to a homework problem. I'm going to go ahead. We talked about frequency distribution, and we talked about what a frequency distribution is. It's basically a what?
Chart.
A chart. That's all it is. And instead of teaching you frequency distribution and then skipping 2 or 3 and talking about 2 or 3 other things, and then next week coming back to frequency distribution, I'm going to go ahead and do it all at one time. So just hold on and I'll show you what we're going to do. And that's not it. It must be in 3.2. Yep, it's in 3.2. 3.2. I'll just go to ebook study plan. 3.2. No, I'm not going there. 3.2 or 3.3. Study plan. Now, you're not responsible for doing chapter 3 homework right now. This is for your notes. Okay? And I'll explain in just a minute. Now, I want you to write down that formula, and I will also put it on the board. The mean, well, that sucks. I still think you didn't share what was so funny. You said you didn't want to hear my loud voice. Is that what you said? The mean for a frequency distribution is equal to the summation of x of f times x over the summation of f. And the standard deviation of a frequency distribution is equal to that guy right there, which is n times, and I'm going to put all this in the summation of f times x squared minus the summation of f times x quantity squared all over n times n minus 1. Now, while y'all are writing that down, I am going to pull up a picture of some things because we're going to have a discussion on what I'm fixing to pull up. I'm going to freeze that, and I'm going to go to Google. Images. That's a good picture. We'll use that one. Well, that's a big picture. See if I can find a better one. That's a better one. All right. Now, when you're talking about data, and when you're talking about, and this is like whoever you're working for, whether you're working for Michelin or whether you're working for, I don't know, Flora Daniel, or whether you're working for, who knows. You may be working for the hospital. You may be a director or the supervisor on the floor of the hospital, or whatever the question, whatever your job may be, you might have to give a report. And if you have to give a report, you're going to have to worry about data, and you're going to have to worry about standard deviation, and mean, because that describes your data. If you have data that looks like this, what kind of data is that? In other words, is there a lot of variation? Yes, there's a lot of variation because it's going what?
Up and down.
It's going up and down. Versus data that looks like that, which is giving you some kind of a what? A correlation. All right? There's two types of data. Now, this ain't in your book. I can guarantee you it ain't in your book because this is a Hubertism. Now, we all know there's many definitions for type. Okay? I don't want to know your definition. Okay? I know that there's several definitions that can be lewd. I know there's different definitions that can be just normal talk. And then some means, just okay. It means it's good. It's, whatever the slang may be. But let's look at this picture. Some of you may not know what a bearing is. Now, what in the world has this got to do with, well, I'm getting there. All right, this is a bearing. This is a bearing housing. The bearing fits in the bearing housing. Now, what is a bearing? A bearing is two circular pieces of metal. And what's in between those two pieces of metal? What's in between there? Right in here. What's in here? Anybody know? What? Bearings. Little ball bearings. Some roller bearings, some are ball bearings. Okay? Roller bearings are about that. They're wide and they look like a little roller. And then ball bearings look like a ball. Okay? And it turns. And it's got grease in there, and it turns real freely. Now, the reason you have these, you have them on your car. There's two sets on the inside. There's a set on the inside of your wheel, and a set on the outside of your wheel. And if one of them goes off, your wheel falls off. Or if one of them goes bad, your wheel falls off. Now, what's this? This is a shaft. Now, what is it? Some of you mechanical people, what is it called between the radius of the shaft and the radius of the bearing? What's that called? It starts with a T. O, L, E, R, A.
Tolerate.
Tolerance. Tolerance. Any of y'all taking mechanical or AutoCAD or anything dealing with drawings, plans, blueprints? What's the tolerance supposed to be between the shaft and the bearing?
0.3.
Well, very small. Very, very, very small. In other words, to put a bearing on the shaft, you have to actually take a plastic hammer and tap it on there because it is so tight. Why? Why does the bearing and the shaft, why does the shaft have to be that tight into the bearing? Huh? Because it'll waller it out if it's not. Waller? What does that mean?
Where?
Waller is a Hubert term. No, waller is a Southern term. It's where something just, that banging, it just bangs against metal and metal and metal, and eventually what's that shaft gonna do to that bearing? It's just gonna bust it all to pieces. Okay? That's what slop is. Slop is when the shaft is in the bearing and there's all kind of wiggle room. That's called slop. Now, A lot of you are thinking, y'all are perverts, okay? I got 3 perverts right here. All right. Some of y'all, okay? Some of y'all are thinking mechanically, all right? The slop that is a mechanical term. And when you're talking to a mechanical engineer, first thing they're going to say is there's a lot of slop in there. In other words, the tolerance is there's too much gap in there. And there's going to be metal against metal, and it's going to just tear it all to pieces. All right? That's why when you have a bearing put on your car or your vehicle, they can't just put a bearing on your axle and just say, okay, it's ready to go, slap it on there. Because what happens to the shaft if there's a lot of banging going on there? It gets damaged also. And if you put a new bearing on there, what's it going to do? It's going to tear up again. So you have to replace the shaft and the bearing. So the tolerance on a good system has to be very tight. Slop does not do good. Tight has to be good. Now, let's go back to what I was talking about. Data in statistics or probability has to be tight. Slop is not good. Now, how can you tell? Both of these can be measured by the standard what? Deviation. If you've got a very high standard deviation, then you're talking sloppy data, not valid. If you are talking very small standard deviation, then you're talking good data, valid data. Let y'all write that down. Good data, low or small standard deviation. Not valid would be a very large standard deviation. So, what do we measure standard deviation with? Well, we measure it with the center. And the center that we use is called the what? Mean. You know what a mean? You know what the mean is? I ask this definition all the time, and everybody says, it's when you add them all up and you know, that's not what I mean. What is the mean? What is the definition? No coffee. What is the definition of average? In other words, what is the definition of average? Don't say add up all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers. No, that ain't what I want. Does anybody know? Y'all all been through 12 years of school. Tell me what the definition, a basic definition of the average is. I thought you had a bottle. Come, girl. I'm going to have to smell, see what's in there. You sure are drinking a lot. Check that one too. What is it with water bottles here lately? Have you noticed that a water bottle section at Target has grown from like being a little area like this to a whole daggum aisle? Have you noticed that?
Water sucks.
Huh?
Because Anderson water sucks.
No, I think it's a water bottle fetish. I think people buy water bottles because they're pretty.
That too.
Huh?
That too.
Yeah, see?
The water never did used to taste terrible.
I have drank
You can't have sweet
water
tea.
in Anderson County
Oh, it's
for 47 years. There ain't nothing wrong with me.
disgusting. We're on the petition. We need to get a petition done or Tesla.
Oh,
They're gonna kill us.
I know. It's all Bush's fault. Bush did it. Bush contaminated our water. So,
Okay.
what is the definition of average? Well, let me show you. I'll show you real quick. This is the definition of average. Let's say you got a graph and you got your numbers here. There's one, graph, and it looks like that, and this, and this right here, and then this right here. Okay? Let's say you got some numbers. Let's say you got, I don't know, 20, 15, 25, 15, whatever. Just numbers. Okay? Doesn't matter what the numbers are because I'm fixing to show you what the average is. The average is the number where there is no variation. The number that represents no variation. Now, a lot of you saying, well, you have variation. It goes here, 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 and here. No, I said the average is the number that represents no variation. So if I was to take this guy right here and chop it off, just take it and chop it off, then I could probably put it in this area right here, couldn't I? So take that area, or chop it off, put it in this area, okay? We're going to put it right here. Okay? So that goes over here. Everybody with me? And this ceases to exist. Okay, but I'm going to draw a black line right here, and I'm going to draw a because that used to be there, but we moved it over there. And then we take this guy right here. And we just put him over here. Or whatever it comes out to be. And then this goes away. Now what did I do with a graph with a lot of variation? Actually my drawing is supposed to come out even, so I'll just be quiet. There. Alright. So this number, after we shift all this stuff, this number right here is our number that represents what?
No variation.
No variation. And I bet you $1 to a donut hole, none of you knew that before you came in here today. And you've been through 12 years of school, and I guarantee you some of you have been through probability and statistics, and you didn't know that's what it was. Because it's not on a test. I'm not going to put that on a test because it's a definition. This is something that you need to know. The number that represents no variation in a set of data is the average. Okay? I wish I could give you a better example, like one that's actually got numbers on it, but it would take half the class to chop them off and turn them over and put them. So I just hopefully you got the gist of it. If not, then you just quit. Okay? All right. Who's got a question? Now, So these two guys right here is your bread and butter for chapter 3. Okay? I don't care about all the other stuff. Mean, median, mode, range, mid-range. That's good. But if you don't know how to do these two guys, you might as well just not show up for the test on chapter 3. On unit 1. Because 80% of the unit 1 test is going to be mean standard deviation. Now, how do you find the mean and standard deviation of a frequency distribution? Right here. You just fill out those formulas and that's it. Now, you don't have a clue what they are. Because you're used to doing what? Adding them up, dividing by what? The number, and everything's good. But the problem is, that ain't what I pulled up while ago.
There's
I'm about ready to quit. And I just took out every single dadgum page that I pulled up. It's all Bush's fault. I can't even remember where I'm supposed to be going now. Well, I'm doing this. Get your phones out and check your text messages. Because it's going to be a few minutes because I got to pull all this back up. Oh my God. Can't use your cell phones. Anybody remember what number that was? tctc.mylabs.com. Let's see, y'all are 12011. And y'all are 3 point, I think I pulled up 3.3, didn't I? Now remember, you are not responsible for doing 3.3 homework tonight, okay? I'm showing you this to go along with what we're talking about, frequency distribution. You remember how you took Algebra 1 in high school, and then they gave you geometry, and then you forgot all your Algebra 1, and then they gave you Algebra 2, and you were like, I don't know how to do this stuff. All right, that's what I do not want to happen right now. If I give you frequency distribution, and to tell you what a frequency distribution is, I don't want to give you a bunch of other stuff, and then let you forget about frequency distribution, and then go, okay, we're going to do the standard deviation of frequency distribution, and half of you will go, what was a frequency distribution? So I'm going off to the side here, and I'm putting it together for you, okay? Question. All right, so write that problem down, put it on a separate sheet of paper, and we're going to find the mean and the standard deviation of this chart. And you would draw it just like I've been drawing it, like this. 10 to 19, 2, 20 to 29, 3, 30 to 39, 1. And go ahead while you're at it, interval, that's your class, and then frequency. Go ahead and find your class width and your class boundaries. Go ahead and do all that right quick. You know how to do that? Okay, well don't worry, you'll be screwed if I don't get you to quit. What are y'all laughing about right there?
You can't see.
Well, where should you see it? Well, I'm so sorry.
Start writing down math.
This is the question, right here. Do this. I just, that's the way I write frequency distribution.
Is it better to write it like that? Okay, but what about the thing above it?
That's this right here.
Why did you write it different?
I just put the N right here. That's all I did.
Why did you write it that way?
Because some students multiply this N times this whole number right here
Instead of just that first.
instead of just this, yeah. And that's why I put it right here.
Oh, okay.
Miss Wilson, what's the answer?
I'm still writing the problem.
Y'all, I'll tell y'all gonna be a fun class.
That's sarcasm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better than my 109 class. My 109 class, they just sit there.
I'm glad I picked this one.
Hmm.
I'm glad I picked this one.
I just didn't know if y'all were like spying on people or what. Man, sit here, sit over here. All right, what's the class width? 10. Class width is 10. If you're from the south, 10 has 2 syllables. If you're not from the south, it's ton. QRS, TUV. What comes after V?
W.
Oh, you only notice 2 people said it. W. The rest of y'all say what? W. D-U-B-Y-A. You ever notice people give a web address on TV? They'll go, you can find it at www. How many people actually pronounce W? Somebody's back there going, well, that's the way I pronounce it. Shut up. How about OIL?
I've never heard that.
Oil. I would like a quart of oil, please. Or DOG. Now, there is a difference between a dog and a dog. Yeah, there is several definitions of a dog. One of them is Georgia Bulldog, and the other one is just a low down, sorry dog. Just like there's a difference between whooping and whipping. A whipping is when somebody takes a paddle and paddles you and says, now you don't do that. A whooping, when you can't sit down for 3 or 4 days. Or you get your butt whooped out in the parking lot. That's a whooping. A whipping is, now you don't need to be doing that. That's a whipping. A whooping is like, whoa, 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 stop. You know, doing a run around in a circle like that. And the dog's biting you because it's taking. That's what happened to me. My mama had dogs, you know, got cows. And she got me on, I was supposed to be milking cows, and I was watching cartoons up at the house. And she grabbed me and she already had a switch picked out.
Switch.
And
Oh,
she
yeah.
got outside and she started whipping me and I started going around in circles. And that dog started biting me because the dog thought that I was hurting her. And she started biting me on the back of the leg. So I got a whooping and dog bit at the same time.
Can you explain switch to her?
Switch. It is a piece of wood that you go out and pick off of a peach tree and it's about this long and about that big around. And it hurts. It hurts. Or, some people use the fly swatter. The handle of the fly swatter. Some people use kitchen spoon. I got my tail wore out so many times, but you know what? I'm glad. Because it taught me something.
Not to watch cartoons.
Not when I'm supposed to be working. All right. So the class width is 10. Class boundaries is 9.5, 19.5, 19.5, 29.5, 29.5, 39.5, 40, 39.5, 49.5, and so on. What about the mid-range? Well, find your first one. What's 10 plus 19? 10 plus 20 is 30. Half 30 is 15, so it's 14.5. 14.5 plus 10, 20.5 plus 10, 40.5, 50.5, 60.5, 70.5, or whatever it came out to be. 6, 14, 24, whatever. Okay, just add the tens. All right? 14.5, 24.5, 34.5, 44.5, 54.5, 64.5, 74.5. I'm sorry, somewhere I got 0.5 mixed up. All right, now let's find the mean and the standard deviation. Now here's a trick I learned in the war. That's a joke. Hit this little button right here. See that little button right there?
Yes.
Click it and copy to clipboard. And you pull up your dang old Excel spreadsheet. And you put it right there in the spreadsheet and not even have to work. Now here's where I'm going to get everybody going, oh my God, I got to learn Excel. No, I'm just using Excel because it's organized and I don't have to write all over the board. If you like Excel, you can use Excel. I would prefer you use Excel because it's more organized. And once you do one, all you got to do is replace the numbers and then calculate everything for you. Okay? So, but there's only one problem. What's some of you Excel geeks like me, tell me what's the problem with that interval. Why can't we use the interval like it is? Anybody know? Y'all suck. Y'all don't even know. Because it is a class. You can't calculate a class, can you? Sure. So we need to put them in separately.
Minimum.
Now, that's your lower class limit. And this is your what? Upper class limit. And this is F. So what else do we need? Well, your handy dandy formula. Look at your handy dandy formula. What else do we need? Need N. Well, N is equal to the summation of, I'm sorry, hold on, Control X, Control V. N is equal to the summation of F. So dang old, click on that summation sign right up here. For those that are looking at summation, dang old sigma, dang old Greek letter sigma. And that goes, and that is N. So what else do we need? Let's see. We've got N. We've got N. We've got that.
Yes.
What else do we need? F. Do we have F?
Yes.
Yeah, we got F. Each one of those are F, so we got F. So what else do we need?
X.
What is it? Well, there's only one other thing that we can use. What's the only other thing? We use an F. That's these. And N. So what other numbers are left?
Class width.
The class width. But you can't use the, you can't, that's two numbers. How can you use two numbers? You can't. You have to find the what? Good job. I heard somebody say it. You know how it sounded? That's what it sounded like. People, you're going to have to speak up. If you're wrong, I will embarrass you. So speak up. Okay, share. I want to share. I want to hear it. What are you talking about? You're not going to share? Okay, fine. Be that way. All right, so what's my midpoint? Well, that's equal to 10, parentheses, 10 plus 19 divided by what? And here's a trick of learning the war. Copy that down. Oops. There we go. And there's your midpoints. Now you've got F, X, and N. What else do we need? Now we just need to do our daggone formulas. So let's look at the mean. What is the summation of F times X? That means we got to multiply F times X and then add them all what?
84.
Add them all up. Summation of F is 84. This is N. So you already got that one. You just need to do this one. So we're going to put a column right here, and call it F times X. So do that. You do it on your sheet, F times X. And take your handy dandy calculator, and yes, you can use your phone, and multiply those numbers, F times X. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to say F times X. And equals this guy times this guy, and trick I learned in the war. And there's my numbers. Check yours. You went to Rabbit movie, didn't you?
Yeah.
I had a guy in my last class, he goes, I don't have a calculator. How do I get a calculator? I said, I don't know. He was there the first day of class when I told y'all about Rabbit EMU. Not in this class, in another one of the class. I tell everybody about that. That way you can get by without having to buy a calculator. I still don't understand how they're getting away with it. Don't you know, T.I., I don't know how they're doing that. Maybe somebody's paid for it. Hmm? Wabbit, as in Wesley Wabbit. Wabbit, E-M-E. Now, the Apple people, y'all not on welfare like us Android people are, so y'all have to pay for it. The book is about that big. Yes, sir.
Do that first part, like the N equals 84.
Just add them all up. Just hit the summation key. The summation key is right here. Put your cursor right here, and then hit the summation key, just hit that. And then it'll ask you to envelop whatever you want to do, and you just highlight all of those numbers right there.
How did you do X and
No, that was the only question I can ask, I'm sorry. Go ahead, what?
how did you do the X and then wrote it on the 14.5 and then?
Hold on, I'll go back and you can look at it. There you go. Now, sometimes I have been known to copy this and save it and send it to the class if I like the class.
Well, you like it, so.
How do you know that? Y'all talk about me and laugh about me, and then you won't tell me what you're laughing about.
She said something that made me
Okay.
laugh. It was totally different,
Okay.
so,
That's what it should look like.
yeah.
Don't yell in this class. That hurts my feelings.
So
I'll have to go out and put smokestacks on my truck because my self-confidence will go down. And I'll have to jack it up and just because I have insecurities. Did she get it?
No.
Well, I guess I gave them all out. Just told them, did you get it? Or you got a boy or a?
Oh, okay.
Well, somebody help the poor girl out.
I tried, but I have an Android and I don't know.
So if you're on welfare like me. Well,
Well,
I guess iPhone people, I guess y'all just SOL. I guess you go out to buy a $175 calculator. Nothing wrong with 3 by 6
Doesn't that
inches.
matter?
Nothing wrong with that. That's what you're saying. I'm talking about 17 feet. My guy that usually gets out ball here, he's short.
Just let it fall to the ground,
Yeah.
or put his ladder down.
We don't talk about the third one.
I'm sure they can get.
Or they got $10,000 worth of stereo equipment and $10,000 tires on a $1,000 Honda. No, wait a minute. Mustang is a Mustang. That's like a Camaro. Mustangs, Camaros, they're their own car, so you can do whatever you want to. Unless it's a 4-banger Mustang, and you put in $1,000. No, don't put anything in a 4-banger Mustang because they're worthless. That's like having an Old Doodles, drinking a keg of Old Doodles beer.
Beer's beer.
Old Doodles is not alcoholic. Huh? I don't know. That's for you to decide. I want you to come up with a lesson. I don't know. I guess we could do standard deviation of the people, the age of people there, and we can go around and ask them their age.
Or you get the average of all the.
Or the
prices.
drinks, or the
Yeah.
prices. So we're gonna have each person do their own thing there.
What? So I'm like,
Oh, 'cause I'm about to tell you,
Come on,
y'all
you
doing that
can-
all the time. I want a glass of wine.
I'll do the
So you're
average.
setting a
one.
bad example. You're setting a bad example. You are setting a bad example. See, now when I go there, I'm gonna be setting a good example, and you're gonna be setting a bad example.
How's that?
You're gonna be drinking and getting drunk and be falling,
You wanna
slobbering
do
all
better.
over yourself.
That.
And I'm gonna be drinking tea.
Very strong.
All right, do y'all's number come out right?
Sure.
Sorry, yeah, okay.
Okay, so now what do we do with that? Well, what does this say?
Plug it in.
Dang old sigma means what?
Summation.
Sum it up. So let's dang old get to our sale.
Yes.
Sale, that's C-E-E-E-L, sale, down here. And dang old summation. Dang old. Boom. And there's your number. Now you go down here and you put mean is equal to, and you say equals this guy divided by what? That guy. And there's your mean. Gotta do, oh, hold on. Gracious. These divas.
On the last call, we just add all this together.
Yeah.
No,
Add all
no, no,
these
not
up.
just because of that. That was
Huh? The squiggly E is called sigma. Sigma is summation. Yep. Click on that button. Click on this cell. Go up here, hit sigma, and then highlight these numbers. I would highly suggest, if you're one of these people that's like, oh, no, I think I would probably get used to it. What? You need to get used to Excel. It is one of the best programs to use if you're talking about an office environment. Office, anything having to do with numbers. Now what? Well, we got our mean. Now let's find our standard deviation. Now I'm going to let you work on that. Read what I had up here. Read the formula. Plug in the numbers. Well, if you'll hold on a minute, I'll get the black one. Holy moly. I can't do anything right for this class.
I'm glad you realized that.
Huh? And then y'all talk about me or say stuff, and I say, what? No. There. Is that okay now? Is that sufficient?
It needs to be a little.
It can be a little better.
You need to work on it.
Yes, Princess. I will do that. Miss Wilson, it could be worse, couldn't it? We could have Hickey in here. Her buddy.
Oh.
You people.
Weird guy.
You people. See, if everybody had to ask you people. I can't believe I said you people.
Oh, God. That's right.
Why are you confused? Tell me. Ask me. What were you?
Okay, n is that 84 number.
Yes.
The sum of f times x is,
Well, it says f times x squared. Do we have an x squared up there?
no.
We got to have a column called x squared. So do that. So this column right here, we're going to call it x what? X squared. So do that. I'll do the first one for you. X squared. Here's x. 14.5 squared. You'll put it right there. 210. Mm-hmm. And you'll do that all the way down. Yes, ma'am.
For the wagon emu,
Mm-hmm.
there's an option for like TI-83 plus SE. What does the SE mean?
Special edition.
So,
Go ahead and get it. I mean, if you like that one.
okay, then there's TI-84 plus C SE.
All of them's good.
Okay.
You can get whichever one you want. Just make sure when it asks you for DLLs or libraries, or what does it ask you for? Somebody tell me. It's going to ask you to make something, a library or something. Yeah. Do it, because you can't pull it up. Did you show her how to get to it? Don't bother if you don't Facebook right now. Oh, I thought you couldn't find it.
What, the calculator?
Mm-hmm.
Use the calculator.
She wants to deal with the,
I know what it is. You trying to instigate.
What's the question? Just ask it. I'll embarrass you afterwards.
Look,
There's no question.
See, that's why y'all failed. That's why y'all failed last semester. I don't know why y'all even in here. All right, here's my x squared. Equals 14.5 raised shift 6 to the second power. And you copy that down. And there's those numbers.
Mr. McClure,
Yes.
you said it's Wabbit, because the only thing I'm pulling up is a Looney Tune production.
No, you didn't say that. You didn't listen. Now, how can you not listen? You are a female. Okay? You're supposed to be listening.
You
Okay.
bothering me.
It's Wabbit Emu. Wabbit EMU. Okay, now what's the next column I need? Well, read your formula. What have I got to have right here? F times x squared. So this next column right here is going to be F times what? X squared. F times x squared. You catching on?
Yeah.
Okay, less confused?
I'd rather do algebra.
Okay, well, I'll try to make the next problem even more challenging so
So you have
you
the F
quit
times
it.
after two. You got
I gotta have this class.
and then you just square that.
Well, ask Miss Wilson, this is her 5th time taking this class. She won't pass it because I don't like her. She shouldn't take it. What are you doing?
I'm trying to download this thing. I don't know I'll be able to do it.
Do you have an Android? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it ancient?
Oh, it's free, I know
It'll
that.
probably blow up.
Well.
You got one of them Walmart phones, it'll probably blow up.
This ain't no Walmart phone, this is AT&T thing.
Where you got the X?
When do you graduate high school, Miss Wilson? No, I mean roundabout.
In the 90s.
Okay. Then you know what the word joning means.
Jonas.
You ain't heard that in a long time, have you?
I heard that when I came up here.
Oh man, we'd be joning on people all the time in the football locker room. All right, here we go. F times x squared equals, now be careful here, don't grab the wrong number. F times x squared. Check your numbers and make sure yours look like mine. Now, most of y'all are saying, well, he's not doing anything with the formula yet. No, I'm not. Because I haven't got everything to plug into the formula yet. I'm getting it. Yes, ma'am.
Why could you not square the F times X?
Because f times x quantity squared is not the same as f times x squared. I'll show you. It's one of those questions I love for students to ask. What's 2 times 3? What's 6 times 6?
36.
What's 2 times 9? Not the same. Yes.
Just multiply the x by another x.
Take what? Yes, you could do that, but that's up to you. The reason I'm doing it like this is because I'm needing, you know, if you're making, let's see, what did I make last night? Okay, brie pastry. Have you ever had brie pastry before? Okay. You can't have brie pastry if you don't have brie cheese. So if you need brie cheese, you have to go what? Get it. I don't have f times x squared. Okay, it's not over here. Before I did this, I don't have f times x squared anywhere. So I've got to what? I've got to get it. I've got to make it. And that's what f times x squared right here. All right? Now, what I do with f times x squared Okay, so I'm gonna add this guy up right there. And I've already got this. Where am I gonna use this?
What's that?
So I've got two numbers I can plug in now. Let's go ahead and sum that up. So we can feel good about ourselves, so we don't have an orange face and a white neck. Some of you girls have no idea what I'm talking about. You ever sing Oompa Loompa?
Which version?
I'm talking about
Johnny.
girls with orange face and a white neck. They have on too much makeup.
There's the original version and then there's the new one.
She's not understanding what I'm talking about. You know, no, I'm just picking on you. Women do not show their insecurities like men do. Men have a sign around their neck that says, I'm insecure. Women, they don't have as many. But one of theirs is the Oompa Loompa. It's the orange face. The woman puts on too much makeup, and she's got a white neck.
Fake tan.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that goes to the tanning bed so much that she's orange. Yeah, that's what Oompa Loompa.
What kind of little height would you like?
5 days later,
How do you?
type in Walmart phone.
Okay.
83 is fine. 83 is plus. 83.
Go ahead and do that.
And it'll ask you, yes.
Okay, that's all right.
I'd like to download more, yes.
Finish.
Oh my gosh. You know, if Miss Wilson can download a calculator, and it ain't done yet. Hold on.
Rerun, set up, alert.
Load file. There you go.
Oh, I got it.
Well, it was there for a second.
And you get
It must
three,
be.
so 5, 4, 3.
Okay, well now you can pull it. Make sure you can pull it up.
How'd you find the mean?
Ma'am?
How'd you find the mean?
Summation of f times x over n. So this number divided by that number.
Okay.
Okay, so look here. N is what? 84 times 35, 34, 5, 421. Minus 5258 squared over 84 times what? I'll do that for you. 83. Now I'm going to do it step by step for you on the computer up here. I'm not going to calculate it. I'm just going to show you. So, hold on. Hold on just a second. N is that number times this number, and then we're going to minus this number, oops, raised, oops, to the second power, and all that is going to be over n times what? N minus 1. All right, that's what it looks like. That's just plugging in the numbers right here. I want to center all that. I don't want to center. I want to center these. There we go. All right, so let's go down here and say equals 84 times this number, and that's the BA number, minus, anybody want to tell me why that has to be a BA number?
Is this square?
Because it's square root, we can't have a negative, so this number has to be way bigger than what? This number. All over this times this All right, finish it out. I think y'all can finish it now. If you can't, then just consider yourself a failure.
You said you're gonna email this to us, right?
No. Y'all ever seen the student that comes to the test with two calculators, two pencils, and both calculators are dead and both pencils are broken?
You're pressing the button that's not even over. What's the answer?
All right, so let's finish it out.
Did you get it? Yeah, it's for you. I did.
Equals this BA number minus this BA number over this guy.
I'd like to download everything.
Does anybody know what I get when I do these two numbers?
196.
The variance. Variance is not that important, but they may ask you for that number in your homework. What can you tell me about the variance association with the standard deviation? It's always the what? Square root. Write that down.
Yes.
So, Miss Wilson, what time is it?
It is 12:30
What time's class over?
in a minute.
Okay. All right. Let me show you one thing right quick. I'm going to tell you the mean is 63 and the standard deviation is 14. Now don't pack up yet, please. I'm going to show you something. And you need to write this down because you're going to be asked this on the test. What did I tell you the mean was?
63.
I'm just going to round it to 63. And then the standard deviation is what? 14. All right, so somebody take 63 and 14, what do you get? 77. What's 77 plus 14?
91.
What's 63 minus 14?
49.
Thank you. And what's 49 minus 14? And you have just found the normal distribution of this data that we had and that frequency distribution. You add the standard, you subtract the standard from the mean. Let me call the roll while y'all packing up. And turn off the video.